So here I am at an undisclosed Yorkshire location with a disclosed Yorkshireman, Adrian Carter from Pace, and 30 years since Pace broke cover?
Yeah, 97. So,
97?
97, yeah, that's the first stamp on the first jig.
Not 97?
Sorry, 87.
87, right, okay, so 32 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and we became a limited company in 89.
There you go, I knew there was an 89 in there somewhere. So I was thinking, oh bugger, I'm going to have to re-record that bit now, he's getting all awkward.
A bona fide company.
And, I mean, this is your steel bike, which has been your current mainstay of the range for a while now. That's the 529?
It's actually the 129.
129? Oh,
it's a shorter woodsy bike.
Oh, okay. So is this something that's not even in the range then? Oh, typical. See, this is why I love coming with Adrian. This is like, you know, straight away he's curveballed me twice. I've got the date wrong and now he's riding a bike that doesn't even exist in a place which I can't tell you where we even are. So, but what I do know is you've been...
man of mystery.
Exactly. But mainly Yorkshire based. I mean, you've been part of Yorkshire mountain biking now for donkey's years.
Yeah, long time.
Right from the start, right from, you know, pretty much the first races out here. And the bike I'm riding here is RC295. Is this production? Or like production sample this will be? Because
production frame sample, yeah.
And production bike.
The first one off the production jig, and then built to what we're calling the ultimate GX build.
Yeah.
An ultimate thought.
Yeah, all the bikes get a Pike Ultimate as a XT Ultimate as well, isn't there?
There's an ultimate XT Ultimate as well that comes with XT brakes as well as a transmission.
Yeah. And then there's frame only, rolling chassis, and various kind of Hope and Fox upgrades as well, aren't there?
Yeah, rolling chassis so that the customer can use their own donor bike, their bike as a donor bike, irrespective of what their wheel size is. So if they're switching from a 27.5 to a 29, they need a pair of wheels and fork in the frame.
Yeah. But I mean, that's kind of the template you've rolled out on the steel bikes anyway.
Yeah, in fact, we've had that since about 2003, rolling chassis.
Yeah, oh, that's true. Yeah, because
Not a new concept.
Because the last full suspension bike you built, 506, RC 506.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. RC 405 and then the 506.
And we did play with a 204, which was a short tracker frame, which never made it to production.
So there's been constant tinkering. I mean, 506 was 10 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but constant tinkering since then, yeah?
Yeah, 506 concept came out in 2004.
Yeah.
On the 405, which was designed in 2002, 2003, something like that.
Sorry?
Yeah, but all of them based around this free floater suspension system, and this is just an evolution of that.
Grand. Right, I think we've hit the first bit of single track, haven't we? Secret single track with Mr. Carter. So I'm going to let him show me the way and start doing the live ride review. Okay. So obviously this is going to be, I'm probably going to cut this apart as a separate I chat to Adrian while riding around, and then there'll be a live ride review that goes with it in the standard format. So make sure you watch both of them, because we're going to be wittering on and on and on. That's generally what happens, isn't it? A couple of hard nuggets in there, but that's what you like, right? That seems to be a lot of what you're riding at the moment. Steep, techie, slippery, and is that what's led this kind of geometry development on this bike?
I think it is, yeah. Both the geometry and a little concept, a bit of deeper thinking around leg length. So the issue of central gravity, making the bike unstable, and ways that I can improve that.
Because you went first for that, because currently the steepest bike is the 29er, isn't it? Which is slightly steeper than the 27.5. Is that right, in the seat angle?
Other way, the seat angle, yes.
Yeah. And then head angle, it's the other way though, isn't it? Yeah. But you've gone even further. So, seat angle on this is the same as the 529, is that right? Roughly. But slacker up the front. So it's kind of a hybrid of both. But obviously this is a bike designed, you know, with full suspension. It's likely to be going faster.
Indeed. Although the 2020 529 hardtail has actually gone slightly slacker on the front. Not as slacker as the 295, but even so a bit slacker. Effectively revised geometry for the new generation of shorter fork offsets.
Yeah. And you're a big fan of the shorter fork?
I am.
So, because it's 44 on this, isn't it, on the pike on here?
Yeah, that's right. In actual fact, I was a big fan of the 51. It was just a matter of getting the trail and the head tube angles to work in harmony with each other.
Yeah.
And that's what we've done in this bike.
Because you don't just jump into these designs, do you? You're notorious for taking a long old time. I mean, you work with Kathy, your wife, and Sophie and Amy, your daughters, and I think you occasionally push them to limits on how long it takes you to finally stop just riding prototypes and actually put something down and press go on production.
Everyone's crazy, including myself. Yeah, I don't quite know when to stop, but yeah, they make me stop at some point. So yeah, let's go to production with this.
Yeah, and I think it's worked well, because there has been a lot of confusion about wheel sizes, like plus 29, all these different elements, short, long forks, in terms of offset, what sort of travel. I mean, just the whole kind of back to 29 mid-travel trail bikes. I mean, 3 years ago, that looked like it were dead.
Yeah.
But now you look at forward ordering, and 27.5 looks like the one, you wouldn't invest a house in.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's true, and I think it's because you can't actually just toss one component, particularly a major component like a wheel size, into the mix and expect you can simply tinker with the geometry and everything's going to be good, because you can't. You've got to have everything working in harmony together. Fork travel, fork offset, rim width, trail, then you can play with the geometry, stem length. So you've got to combine all of these things before you can make a 29 a playful.
Yeah, I mean, it's a super short stem. Yeah, super short stem on this, isn't it? It's your own 32mm reach pace stem.
It's as short as you can get it before the handlebar hits the steering.
Yeah, without being a percenti.
Yeah.
But then you've always been a short stem, long top tube man, even back in RC100 days. It was quite radical geometry for its time.
Yeah, well, it kind of started with the purple downhill bike.
500, RC500, isn't it?
Yeah, we just took the idea of an off-road motorcycle, basically, which was much longer, much roomier, long saddle you could slide around on. And of course the triple glass block with the bar mounted directly on top of the top yoke.
Yeah.
So that gave you a really long top tube and a very short stem.
And that's your deep history is off-road motorbikes, isn't it? And something you still do a lot of today as well, yeah?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
But no e-bike yet?
Yeah, we're working on a new bike.
Oh, hey, I love it when you drop an exclusive in. Riding a bike you can't get, and there's a powered pace then.
And it's actually should be coming relatively soon. I was hoping to have the first rideable prototype by Christmas, but maybe
Wow.
it'll be like January.
Okay, because I mean this format lends itself. There's nothing, it's quite a nice compact. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy just slapping it on, but there are some sort of suspension setups that just won't work within it when you put a motor in them. There's just not space in the system. Yeah. Interesting.
Indeed. Yeah.
Right, well, we'll catch up on that one later.
Yeah, okay.
But so how long is it? What's been the sort of gestation period on the 295 then?
I would say about 3 years. And many iterations of the free floater suspension system.
Yeah.
And really trying to look into that crystal ball and anticipate travel, geometry, and other aspects that customers would be wanting on their bike 3 years forward.
Yeah. Not easy. Not easy, even someone as experienced as you. Not an enviable job.
Well, I think at the end of the day you just have to try and stay true to your own concept of what a mountain bike should be, and try and see how you could develop that concept and then kind of commit to it.
Yeah.
Pursue that down the road and hopefully not set yourself off down some awful cul-de-sac.
Well, not an awful cul-de-sac here anyway, certainly. So, that was very cheesy. But I mean, one of the standout things about this bike is just, not just me saying this, but other people who've ridden it as well, just how well balanced it feels straight off. So you've obviously worked a lot on the chassis dynamic of it, with the shock, with the fork. Everything seems, straight away. It's a very, very kind of coherent package. It doesn't feel like a frame that you then fit a shock and a fork to.
I think in that design, the key to me, well, of course, the geometry it's all about geometry, stupid as I say, isn't it? It is about the geometry, no matter what the mechanics of the bike is. If you get the handling right, then you're well on the way to creating an enjoyable ride. But as I sort of suggested earlier, one of the key aspects of this bike was looking at centre of gravity and leg length and thinking, well, if riders want to ride 150, 170 stroke dropper on full extension, you really are sat quite high on the bike. So
plus, if the seat angle's slack, you're quite a long way back as well. It's like an old Allsop soft ride on some of them.
Quite so, yeah. So if we have a steeper seat tube angle, one of the benefits to a steeper seat tube angle is that you automatically give yourself much more reach relative to the actual cockpit length of the bike.
Yeah, because it's 484 on this large, I think, reach. I mean, it depends on the geometry setting and stuff like that.
It does, yeah.
Well, you don't have to keep chatting while we're going up a climb. I mean, people go on about me having a third lung, but
I think the component that allowed me to play with the ride quality of the bike was shorter cranks. Because if you can have a crank 5-10 millimeters shorter, then technically I can drop the BB height 5 to 10 millimeters more, which makes a
because the BB's sub 330, it's the 327, I think, 140mm fork in high, so it's just going down below that, and that's low.
That's low, yeah. So you do have to consider pedal strike, but
yeah, sorry about that, Sophie. I did tape the cranks, but maybe a little bit of magic marker needed on the end of them after a stain burn session.
Yeah. It's less so now. You can actually readily buy 170 or 165 crank. So,
and most people are used to them now as well.
Yeah, they are. Yep.
I mean, I used to bitch about them horribly when they first came out. I was like, I want my leverage. But to be fair, I've been riding this and I hadn't even checked what length they were, so.
Yeah, there you go. It's a 165 on this bike.
Right.
So we can lower the BB height. It's a relatively short travel rear end at 135. So you can't really compare the BB height of a 135 travel bike with a 150 bike. So if we look at a 135 travel bike and a short crank, we can reduce the centre of gravity and really take advantage of the fact that in a 29er now you're sat very much inside the bike and not perched on top.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's confirmed two things. Adrian's really bloody thought about the geometry and the ride height and the whole integration of suspension and different components into the bike, but also he's a fit old dog. No breaking that. Up a proper fire road brake. Well done, sir. Can't beat briskers.
Yeah, it's the first season I've worn these hydromatics, these waterproof ones.
Right, I've got a pair, but they're slightly too small.
They're kind of okay.
Yeah.
At least you get good feel from them and they're not too bulky.
Yeah, that's what I like about them.
Yeah.
They just don't feel like a winter glove.
Yeah. And sometimes if the weather gets a bit gnarly, they're not really a winter glove. But,
No, but you just ride harder, don't you?
Can't all, can you?
Yeah. But I'd rather actually have cold hands and not crash when I'm in danger of hypothermia than be perfectly warm with ski gloves on with a broken femur. Down here then, you have to restart you there, Adrian, because we started chatting on again. We've just come down that section. I'll flag it. I'll put a little clip up there. Really sketchy, kind of slow speed, bit of a knife edge in places, rocky. I was just saying, the bike just feels totally composed, just like, yeah, you got all the time in the world, we got this. And that's the sign of a really, really well sorted bike. I mean, it's quite difficult for me as a tester because I almost forget about the bike. I'm just purely concentrating on the ride, and then I have to go and go, oh, what was the bike actually like? And try and put together, kind of rewind. Whereas, I mean, often I'll be like, oh my God, it's doing that, it's kicking back, it's pushing on, it's doing, you know, it's all quite up in my face, all the attributes of the bike. But in this case, just totally planted. You were saying a lot of that comes from sort of 29er and also off-road motorcycle.
Well, You've got to agree, that's sensational. It's a bit like when you're snowboarding, for example. The board's underneath you, you're not looking at the board, you're not thinking like what the board's doing. You're just in the moment and enjoying the flow of the piste. An off-road motorcycle where the bar's often quite high, you can manoeuvre around a lot on the bike, but you're never perched higher than the bars.
Yeah.
So you're sat down into the bike's doing its thing, and you're a passenger who can enjoy the ride.
And there are ways to get around that quite simply. Just, you know, heavier bikes with more travel will tend to do that more easily. So
Or
doing
e-bikes are the same,
yeah, exactly, e-bikes being prime example.
Yeah.
But to do that on a 135mm travel bike with a sub 3 kilo frame weight, that's dynamic genius, that is, I reckon.
Yeah, I think you can, to achieve that, you can take advantage of those high axles and low BB. So you very much sit in the bike, and then you definitely become a passenger rather than feeling that you're perched on top.
Yeah, but no, I'm not going to let you say passenger, because that sounds really docile and kind of non-involved. I'm going to say you feel like properly sat down, Formula One, tub on the ground, you know, Mini Cooper stuck down, not sat in the back of a Bentley or a Rolls Royce. Yeah. This is still a very sharp. There's a lot of feedback coming through the points where you need it from, but there's nothing coming back from the points you don't need it from. You know, there's no kickback through the pedals, there's no judder in through the brake or anything like that. Well, it's very neutral. It's just you. It just feels like you and the tyre contact patch.
Yeah. My original idea, not so much idea, when I wanted to position a bike and the way that it's performed, is not a bike park bike, not a trail centre bike, but a true mountain bike. And in my mind, a true mountain bike has to be sufficiently compliant and taut so you can climb, get grip, move up a mountain with precision. But when it comes to a more severe downhill, then you can really descend with confidence and really enjoy the ride without thinking, you know, actually the bike design works great on the climb, but it compromises the descent. And to me, a true mountain bike should be able to do both of those things, you know, with some...
Yeah, I mean, this feels like a bike that's done its own work. Yeah. It feels like a very educated, for want of a better phrase, a very educated, kind of studied bike. This bike feels like it's done all these situations before you even got to them. And so it's not coming into the exam and getting a horrible shock. It's not winging it in any way, or it only revised that paper and it's not fair because that question didn't come up. It went home, it did a lot of due diligence, and it's a, you know, don't get me wrong, it's a naturally smart bike, but it put the work in as well.
Yeah, I think...
And that's very much this kind of really kind of informed feel that the whole bike's given me when I'm riding it.
Yeah, well, all those years of development, a lot of them have been actually spent on sessioning climbs and descents to try and understand what's required.
Life's a bitch, yeah.
And then evolving the design and seeing how it performs and how it can be improved in those conditions. So not taking it to bike park wheels, not taking it around a smooth trail centre with a trail with smoothly cat litter, but true mountain bike, rock, roots, water, slime, both up and down.
Yeah. And it's and it's Endura Max pivots as well, with a good old warranty on them, behind sealed caps, 10-year frame warranty, so threaded bottom bracket, bottle cage mount, all the things that you'd want from a proper, you know, daily hard driver bike as well.
Yeah, and I think that's also reflected in the components for the bike build that we've chosen. We could have easily thrown lots of carbon at it and doubled the retail price of this bike, but like you say, what we really wanted was a real world build to reflect the real world capabilities, what this bike should be used for.
Yeah, I mean, even things like the clip-on armour and the protective tubes on the pipes underneath as well. It's, you know, that's an extra level, even though the bike itself, the price of the frame is pretty impressive. You know, because you're only a small unit, a small volume manufacturer. Yeah. You know, you're not selling thousands of these things.
Well, certainly
to cut back on margin.
Certainly in terms of the armour underneath the bike, that needs to be there because the bike is quite low.
Yeah.
So it requires more armour underneath and for the tubes. So you can be assured that it's got protection whilst taking advantage of that lower BB.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, in my mind, I often think, I'm sure everybody finds this as well, that when you buy a product, it seems often that you just can't relate the price of the product. And it, you know, often I'm just so surprised to think, you know, how much is this product? I can't bring the two together, the price and the product, and look at what I'm buying relative to the price. Whereas with this bike, one of the benefits, of course, is that we're a brand that's dealing directly with the customer. So we're able actually to make a reasonable margin that ensure that the retail price, you look at the cost, you look at the product, and that's great value for money, rather than the price. Twice that price is what we're used to.
Yeah. Oh, glad to hear it, to be fair. Because if these are the bikes you're producing, you know, please continue to produce them, sir.
This definitely doesn't have an L3 tune.
No. More of an L3 vertebra, if you catch that one wrong.
Yeah.
So what's your bike of choice, generally? I mean, that's a development bike. So what's travel on that?
No, it's not a development bike, it's an old bike.
Oh, it's the old one, right?
Original 129.
Oh, sorry. Right.
Yeah.
Rewind.
It's a bit shorter.
Yeah.
Finding the woods. They're exclusively just doing woods.
Yeah.
Tight trees. It's like a shorter bike.
Yeah, a little bit of a sawn off shotgun.
Yeah.
But are you normally riding a full sus bike at the moment?
I'm riding that, or I ride the 529, the new generation of the 529.
Yeah, which is the most similar to this in terms of geometry.
Exactly so, yeah. Both engineered fronts for short offset forks.
Yeah.
They both run the same fork, in fact.
I'm just trying to I'm quizzing Adrian here because this is something I want to know, because even though I know it's got a super light compression tune on it, when I'm pedaling along here it feels like I've got the lockout on, and that baffles me. So you're saying that's basically kind of a product of the full floater system?
Well, you know, in my mind, you can't have a suspension system and just toss any shock onto it. You have to develop the suspension system and then tune the shock so that it amplifies and complements the mechanical system that the suspension is working through. So the benefit of the free float system, unlike others, is that you have two levers acting on that shock. So, okay, an air shock is naturally progressive, but with two levers, as they move through the travel, they can, in either case, lose or increase their leverage over the shock.
Yeah, because the top linkage travels much faster.
It does, exactly so, yeah. So the bottom linkage, as it pulls the shock up, it changes the angle of the shock relative to the lever above.
Yeah.
So you can kind of almost have your cake and eat it, so you can get the shock to be flush initially with a low compression tune, but actually not charge through the travel and bottom out too easily. You can still make it sufficiently progressive, directly tuned to that shock.
Yeah.
So,
because effectively you're almost rotating the shock slightly in space, aren't you?
You are, yeah. You're canting the top of the shock forward and bringing the bottom of the shock more angled relative to the top, so the whole thing is canting.
Which changes the natural shock rate, as well as the rotation of the upper link as well. Right, well I hope you learned something there, because I kind of get, I get it, but it took Adrian explaining it, but that's the joy of riding with a designer. So do you ride yours much with the Fox?
Yeah, I have.
Right. Better?
No.
Am I allowed to say keep with the rock shocks?
So,
Am I allowed to say just stick with the rock shocks?
yeah. When you're actually in production, building carbon fibre frames, which often stands at something like 60% rejected cosmetically. So you've got to fill it and then paint it to cover up the filling.
Right, so you need a very high level of QC and construction to get away with that naked, lacquered finish.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
on our design, you will see where one piece of fabric finishes and another one starts, where weaves in different directions around bottom brackets and so on. But I think that's something to be enjoyed and not marvelled at, but certainly it's a tremendous insight into the material. And at the end of the day, it's just a piece of fabric.
Yeah, exactly. And also it lets you make the frame a lot lighter, like you say. It saves you about 300, 400 grams of paint.
Yeah, kind of paint in your hand. It's quite a weight to be had. So yeah, this is a raw finish. with a clear lacquer over the top.
Clear gloss, so it's easy clean.
Clear gloss, except for the decals, which are matte.
Yeah, and that's come back from prototype feedback where the matte, so the prototypes were matte.
Yeah, the prototypes were matte with a gloss decal, but the gloss finish, it was proposed that actually it's just a lot easier to maintain, to keep clean and to rinse off. So again, in real world use, make it gloss.
Happy days. But it's quite a big commitment, isn't it? Going full carbon.
Going full carbon and full gloss when everything else is a matte finish and painted. Yeah. But, you know, in the history of the company,
I think we'll probably pick this up again after we've gone past the shooter, shall we? Just going back to the carbon chat there. But it is a big old commitment, isn't it? You know, having moulds done for 3 different frame sizes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. But you, because you only have to have a mould for each main frame.
Yeah.
The rear frame in all 3 sizes is the same. I did debate whether laying up another mould for the extra large to give a slightly longer back end, but I just found that even in XL it was planted, so
yeah,
I kind of just left it as it is. But yeah, it's you do get a little bit nicked up as you have to make that commitment.
Yeah.
Laying up a tool because once that billet's carved out, you know, you kind of,
yeah,
that's the way it is.
Yeah, it's not like Hope. Yeah, Hope at least have the advantage where they can do it in-house.
Yeah.
I started riding this and it was actually blowing through its travel a bit. So I thought, oh, could do with the volume spacer. Then WhatsApped Adrian, was like, oh, by the way, when we meet up, I must put those volume spacers back in. So that's I'll let him off that one. Because it is quite a linear feel without that volume spacer in there.
Yeah, it is. But just for my style and where I ride currently, I found that actually removing that volume spacer, I could still set the air pressure at about 160 and it would use all its stroke and it didn't blow the travel ring off the end of the shaft. So
yeah.
It just used all.
Yeah, that's what I was finding as well. And because it's not doing anything to your pedalling, you know, it's not dramatically changing the control, then, you know, you may as, like you say, if you're not hitting big stuff and you don't need that more mid-stroke support, then happy days. It's nice to have that option, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it shows that the damper's pretty much operating in its sweet spot, that you can, you know, open it up or close it down. You're getting full use of that adjustability rather than going, oh no, it has to have these 2 travel rings in there. Or
you've got to use all the travel on the bike when it's 135 mil.
Yeah.
There's no point in having a 135 mil travel bike when you look down the shock at the end of the ride and you've still got 10mm of shock stroke left.
Yeah.
It really means you've been riding about 110mm travel bike.
Yeah. But then again, you know, you're not trading anything off despite the fact it's a tough 10-year warranty and it's, you know, got all these practical features. Frame still comes in under 3 kilos. And presumably that's a carbon win there.
Yeah, it's just 3 kilo for a large.
Yeah.
Completely shock.
So in possibly the slickest bit of video editing ever, we're now no longer riding along beautiful sunlit trails with Adrian. We're just back at the car park and yeah, back at the ranch. But just like to say thank you very much.
Very welcome.
Awesome. Thanks, you know, thanks for letting me ride the bike first. That's been an absolute privilege. Yeah, more than enjoyed it. Superb job. So make sure you watch the live ride review that goes with this talk round video, and there's also a tech talk video as well. But kind of just a couple of things that came up with Adrian while I've been riding around. So 2 new bikes we can expect in 2020 then?
Well, there's always bikes in development, but yeah, we have a longer travel version of the 295 bike coming out. Not quite sure when because it's still in development.
Yeah.
But, fundamentally still based on the same free floater suspension system.
Yeah.
And also we've been working on an e-bike for some time, a long travel e-bike.
Yeah.
We're hoping to have that up to prototype stage maybe early in the new year.
Fantastic. Right. Well, looks like I'd best keep in touch with Adrian and watch those developments as they go on. But just watch that pug thing. He cannot be trusted. By the way, this is Finley's first introduction to Guy Case TV. You've not seen him before. We normally have the Spaniel Tilly in these edits, but yeah. Finley! Oh, that was bound to happen. Sorry about that, Adrian. Yeah, this is why he's not been on the channel before. But anyway, back to the point. superb job on that.
Great.
Well done.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously it's an important bike for you.
Yep.
And pleased with how it's turned out.
Yeah.
Is there one thing, if you could go, can I just do, now you've pressed production, is there one thing you do slightly different?
Don't ask me that question, because I'll probably have a list of maybe 10 or 20 things.
Maybe I should have done that machined effect on the carbon fibre after all, but
so on and so on.
yeah, but at some point, but I mean, certainly dynamically, structurally, you know, in terms of suspension, absolutely on point.
Right.
So
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I appreciate
yeah, it's been and you know, and very pace as well, I'd say.
Yeah, it is.
Very pace.
Yeah.
You know, if you rode an RC100 or 200 back in the day, you know, there's going to be some familiarity there in just that precision and that control. You know, you've never wanted to squander that, have you?
No.
Or the efficiency.
No, that's right. Yeah, I think it is trying to keep a machine that is efficient and just maximising. So it's an urgent feel to the ride,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, and absolutely, yeah. This is not a bike that's resting on your laurels, and it's not a bike that's resting on its laurels either. This is still pin sharp.
Yeah.
Even what, 32 years later?
And it goes.
Yeah, 32 years later. Still,
Gosh.
yeah. Not a bad innings, and still plenty of runs left in the.
I guess so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic, Adrian.
Plenty to do.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, dude.
Cheers.
Glad you enjoyed.
Thanks a lot. Right, I better round up the creatures now and head back home.
Woo-hoo.
Thank you very much. Thanks for watching, folks. If you really want to help the channel grow, then check out my Patreon site, where there'll be some more extended edits and regular content on there, which you won't necessarily see on YouTube, for a very, very small monthly fee. Thanks very much.